Hello everyone, it's Melissa Steele with Get Real with Real Estate coming to you today. Oh, look how cute my little plant looks back there. So I'm talking to you about how does a real estate agent get paid? I get this question surprisingly a lot, and it's something that I definitely was confused about when I sold my first home. And I feel like the real estate industry in general is far too confusing, which is why John and I are so committed to doing these weekly videos for you guys and to help keep you informed. So if you have any questions or you're like, what is this? Please put in the comment below, because we would love future topics to be able to talk to you guys about and to be able to answer the questions that are actually coming up for you on a daily basis as you potentially think about buying or selling a home. So how is a real estate agent paid? Long story short, a real estate agent does not get paid in most cases. Redfin, for example, is a very interesting scenario, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what Redfin agents, what their payment structure looks like. But on the agency side, when it comes to buying or selling a home, how does an agent get paid? They get paid at the very, very, very end of the transaction when you get the new keys to your home and end up having to either wire in the funds as a buyer or you get the funds as the seller. That is the moment when a real estate agent gets paid. So it could be a year after working together, it could be a month after working together if you are super hasty and ready to go. It could literally be 3 years after working together. It depends on when you officially close and when that agent actually gets their check. Who negotiates the agent's pay? What does that really look like? Agent's pay is typically negotiated between the seller and a listing agent. So the seller will meet with the listing agent of the home. They'll negotiate a series of things, one of which is the listing agent's commission along with the buyer's agent's commission. So little listing agent actually determines the payment for not only themselves, but the buyer's agent who brings the buyer to their home. Both of these terms are then put into the listing agreement as part of the property sale, and they are abided by during the transaction and throughout. So let's say that agent is a discount agent, takes a 4% listing, 2% for themselves, 2% for the buyer's side. Unfortunately, that listing agent is so poor at what they've done at negotiating on their own behalf that they've determined not only their own pay, but the buyer's agent's pay. Industry standard is 6%. Here in San Diego, it's very frequent where listing agents will discount themselves to 5%, or in certain cases, even a little bit less. Not a good look, because here's the deal, my friends. There are two really important things that you want to keep in mind when it comes to the listing agent that you're choosing for your home. Your bottom line often is not as crystal clear as what they're showing you on pen and paper. That 4% listing, or I've seen ridiculous things, like people taking a 1% to the listing side and doing 2.5% to the buyer side. So it's a 3.5% listing. How does that person expect to market to their best of their abilities, literally making next to no money on the sale? Because you got to think that in addition to the fees that come out with a real estate transaction on the agent side, there are also things like taxes, a brokerage split, potential overhead, marketing expenses, all of those things. So when it comes to listing a property, what is that listing agent really walking away with if they're getting 1% on your listing, and how much effort are they going to be putting into selling it? This is not a day and age where you want to just stick a sign in the yard and hope for the best. That is what a 1 or 2% agent will absolutely do for you. I've seen it time and time again. Literally to the point where agents, buyer's agents, likely won't show a property if it's got really discounted commission. So a little side note there. So another second really important point from the listing agent perspective is, if this listing agent cannot negotiate for themselves and their own payment, how are they going to negotiate literally your biggest financial asset that you've probably ever owned? How are they going to negotiate and have you feel confident in their negotiation skills around getting the best price for your home? This absolutely blows my mind, because I will be the first to tell you that if with a specific listing strategy, and it comes down to every property, but let's use a bread and butter, like 3-bedroom, 2-bath. John and I will sit down and have a specific listing strategy with you. We will think about the exact buyer that we want to walk through the door. Let's say it's a traditional home buyer, like a little fam looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Well, something like that, we're going to advise our seller to underprice it just a smidge, to do really aggressive showings, like 3 open houses in the first weekend, to have in the agent remarks that we're reviewing offers on Monday or Tuesday, to offer the buyer's agent a full 3% commission, and to offer us full 3% commission to be able to not only market and expose the property literally everywhere we could ever want it exposed with our 3%, but we're literally incentivizing the buyer's agent with a 3% listing right off the bat. It shows the seriousness, it produces results literally time and time again. Because we're great at what we do, I'm able to not only negotiate my own commission, which is ultimately going to dictate the results of the sale, right? Like ultimately I get to commit to what I know I'm capable of and what I am going to achieve for my client. And then, in addition, realistically, because we use a specific strategy for every single listing and every single property, we are consistently getting multiple offers, over asking price, less days on market, all of the things that a seller ideally wants from the sale of their home. And I will have you note that it is never like just a 6% listing. We do discount ourselves. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. For like certain friends or certain clients, we've definitely, especially ones experiencing distress, we've definitely discounted ourselves. But what we do for those particular sellers is we outline exactly what the difference in commission is going to look like for them. So should they choose a 5% listing, 2.5 to the buyer's agent, 2.5 to the seller's agent, we have a really clear discussion as to what that looks like for the seller and for bringing in a potential buyer and for the marketing that we're going to provide. Same respect with a 2.75 to each side and a 3% to each side. And honestly, I would not be surprised if over time we potentially even charge a little bit more on the listing side, because I will be sorry, that person did not know I was doing a very important video, calling me mid-video. I will be the first to admit that I don't even remember where I was going. I'll be the first to admit something. All right, so I'll finish up that train of thought, basically. Sellers, I will be the first to really talk to the sellers about what the different commissions are buying them. I am always really open with people that real estate is 100% negotiable. Everything is negotiable. Oh, but I will be first to admit, now I remembered, that most of our sellers actually opt, once they learn the differences in commission and what the different tiers are going to buy for them, most of them opt to hire us at a 6% commission. Most. I will say probably 70 to 80% of our sellers hire us at a full commission, because once they interview multiple other agents, experience discount agency and what that looks like, and evaluate the different tiers, because it's always negotiable. They can easily pay us a combined 5% commission. That's totally fine, but it might affect their results, right? So we're upfront with them as to what the results might look like with each and every aspect. And then on the buyer side, it's really important to note that as a buyer, remember how I mentioned that the listing commission, or the commission, is already negotiated by the seller and the listing agent? Well, you as a buyer's agent don't really come out of pocket for an agent. So it's very, very important that you don't just waltz into an open house or work with a random listing agent. To try and experience success in your purchase, I would highly recommend interviewing 3 to 4 agents, really choosing which one you feel like is the most knowledgeable, going to be the most supportive, and honestly the most fun, because you end up hanging out a lot together over the course of buying a home. I always tell my clients, like, please interview, because it tends to set me apart. I'm fun. And I would guess that we're going to have a lot of fun working together over like the 6 months it's going to take for you to look and find your home. You ultimately want to be partnered with somebody who's going to keep that process fun, exciting, somebody who provides a lot of knowledge and buyer's wisdom, and somebody who's not like the stalest old cookie taking you around town in like their station wagon, right? Am I right or am I right? I'm right. And then, what other thing was I going to say? Oh, there are some commission structures out there that are very discounted, heavily discounted. For example, Redfin. Hi, Anna. Thanks for watching. Redfin is a very unique business model that actually none of the agents are making commission. They're all making salary. So they get a paycheck, and they typically have a very specific role within the transaction. So there are like Redfin listing agents, Redfin buyer agents, and there's a couple companies that work this way. I believe, and I don't know for sure, but I believe Purple Bricks works in the same capacity. We're actually a Redfin partner agent, so anybody who wants a personal like client experience through Redfin versus like working with a whole team, we're one of the partner agents, which is super awesome. And that being said, the Redfin model, clients a lot of times are frustrated and want a personal agent experience, which is us. We're like a Redfin partner agent. And the reason they want the partnered experience is because Redfin typically operates as more of like a team mentality, in the fact that who shows up for your home inspection could be different than whoever showed you the property, and so on and so forth. So realistically, if you want a seamless experience and to have an agent who's present after work hours, like after 5 p.m. or over the weekends, which is very important from your agent, you might want to choose someone who's not on a salary. Just a little side note. All right, you guys, I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for logging on and watching, Anna. I love you. And let us know if you guys have any other questions about real estate. I know firsthand that real estate is so confusing. The first agent that I ever used totally misguided me. I had no idea at the time because I didn't know anything about real estate, as most of us don't. And we want to prevent other people from having that same experience. We are really here to answer questions, to support you through what seems really tricky, to chat through the basic stuff like, how do agents get paid? What does it look like? Because that's a very valid question. You as a buyer or seller absolutely want to know what you're getting yourself into before even sitting down. How does an agent get paid? What does that even look like? You're like over there Googling, trying to figure it out. So I hope this info was helpful. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.